Good morning. Now, a few weeks ago I made a video talking about how to set up game sharing on the PS4 in 2020, and I'll put a link into that, so if you click in the top right hand corner you should be able to get a link to that, and also put it in the description. But after making the video, I obviously had a few people come on and say thank you and it's helped them set it up and all the rest of it, but I also had some comments saying this no longer works. And I thought, well, that's odd because every time I've tried to use it, it does seem to work. So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and have a look. So that's what I'm doing now. Now, as you can see, I've got Joe Chip is logged on. You can see it in the top middle of the screen. And so I'm logged on as me at the moment. Now, if you go into settings and you go to account management, and you go down to activate as your primary PS4, you can see that this PS4 is actually activated as my PS4. So I buy the games and all the rest of it. Any games I buy are available on this PlayStation 4. If I wanted to set up another PlayStation 4, I'd have to deactivate this one and then set up the other PlayStation 4 as my primary. Now, anyone who is using your primary PS4, assuming this still works, should be able to play your games. So anyone logged onto this PC now should be able to play the games I've bought. And as I say, I have made a video telling you how to set this up, so check that out if you're interested. But this video's just looking at, does it still work? So if we go back to the desktop, and as you can see, we're here and all my games are on here. But if I hold the PlayStation button and go into switch user, we can go into Johnny Test. Now Johnny Test is an account that I set up just for the purposes of testing these kind of things. So it's an adult account, and some of the problems I think people might be having might be that they're trying to access stuff with a child account. So it's worth keeping that in mind. This is actually an adult account. So let's just go into that. And as you can see, all the games are showing up. And if I go into start, we should be able to go down to game. Well, let's keep it on all. And everything is showing up. Nothing's grayed out. Everything seems to be working. So what I did was I actually went into Titanfall 2, because obviously Titanfall 2 is an online game as well. So I wanted to check out whether an online game would work. So when I went into Titanfall 2, I actually had a few problems this morning, but I think that's because the Titanfall 2 servers have been a pain. But I actually did manage to go in and play Titanfall 2 as Johnny Test, and it worked perfectly well. And as you can see here, it does seem to be loading up without any problems at all. So that's actually pretty encouraging. And I have to say, if Sony had made it so that you couldn't game share any longer, with the PlayStation 5 coming out in the next few months, I mean, what, it's 5 months away maybe? I would have been actually pretty annoyed, and I was starting to get annoyed when I thought this might not work. But from what I can see here, this does work. And if I click on launch multiplayer, it'll go in and it'll try and create a match, and it'll go in perfectly fine. So that all seems to be okay, and everything seems to be working. But what happens if I actually log my account out and just have the Johnny Test account working? Well, let's shut this down for the minute. Close application. And it's closed. And we're still up with Johnny Test at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch user to Joe Chip. And then go back in again, and if we look here, we've got switch user, and I can switch user, or go back into it again, I can select log out. So if I log out, that logs out Joe Chip and we should be left with just Johnny Test. And as you can see, Johnny Test is up in the top middle there. So now let's try, let's just get the controller working again. Now let's try and get Titanfall to load again and see if that works. And it all seems to be loading okay. It's showing up. It's nothing grayed out. Everything seems to be working okay. And as you can see, it seems to be loading. Now, as I say, when I did this with my account still logged on and Johnny Test logged on, because you can have two accounts logged on at the same time, but obviously one account is used to play the games. When I did that, it worked, as you saw before, but does it work now? And it seems to be, yep, there you go. It seems to be going in okay. And as I say, I'm not going to go through this whole process because I've been sat here all morning testing stuff out. Everything I've tested so far, with that caveat of having problems getting into Titanfall 2, initially because there was a problem with the servers, everything seemed to work. I've gone into 5, 6, 7 games this morning and had a mess around with them. And they all seem to be fine. So as you can see here, it says fine game and all the rest of it seems to be in. And yeah, I mean, if I go into multiplayer, it's searching for a match, starting server, and away it goes. And as I say, it was taking me a while to get in this morning, so I'm not going to do this now. But yeah, it did work perfectly well. So I'm just going to go back to the desktop. I'm going to close the application. And yeah, even without Joe Chip logged in, but this is obviously set as Joe Chip's primary PlayStation and all these games have been bought under the Joe Chip account, it all works. So I don't know what the trouble is that people are having, but it's certainly not that Sony has stopped game sharing from working. That's not the problem here. As I say, it could be that there's an issue with child accounts, and if you're trying to share with child accounts, I know I've had some problems with that, and I actually made a video talking about the problem with child accounts on the PlayStation 4. So it could be that. But adult accounts work perfectly well, and you can play online games as well. So as I say, if you're interested in setting this up, check out my other video. But this video, it just shows you it still works. So hopefully that was some help to somebody, and if they think that they're having problems with this and they are under the misapprehension that Sony is stopping it, you can rest assured that they're not, and that this still does work. I know I keep repeating it, but it does work. And you just need to take your time, work your way through it, and get it up and running. And make sure you're not using a child account, because that will scupper you when you're trying to play online especially. But anyway, that's me done. I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of tea, because this has taken me all morning getting this to work because of problems with servers and whatnot. But yeah, as I say, that's me done, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.